Vision Quest video series, a step-by-step guide to holistic health. Today's program, we'll discuss crystal therapy.
My name is Shelley Stockwell, and I'm a hypnotherapist, transpersonal hypnotherapist, which means that I'm very interested in all states of consciousness, the subconscious and the conscious and the superconscious, the part of us that knows expanded things like past lives and future lives, and is very intuitive, highly creative. So I'm interested in that as a hypnotist, and I'm also a trance channel, which means that I put myself into an altered state and my guides speak through me.
In this show, we're going to explore precious and semi-precious crystals. We'll see how quartz and amethyst crystals can intensify and focus your healing, how color therapy works, and how electrocrystal therapy works as well.
There have been few modern-day discoveries which can truthfully claim to be original. The majority of new innovations seem to be the rediscovery of ancient knowledge, which has in some way been lost by the passage of time. This is certainly true of crystal therapy, which utilizes and harnesses electromagnetic energy for healing.
Crystals actually have their own energy, and quartz crystal has the ability to amplify, transform, store information. So with this knowledge, we're able to combine the crystal energy with our own energy to actually amplify our own healing energy, or the universal healing energy that's coming through our hands when we work. So when the crystal combines with our energy, it brings light in and amplifies our own natural healing repair system that's already going on in the body.
I use crystals as tools to amplify healing energy. I channel the healing energy, and it moves through me into the aura of the person I'm working on, into the chakra centers. It helps to unblock those chakra centers. And it's very much like spiritual healing. But I guess the difference is that the crystals are used, and they're used as tools to amplify that channeled healing. And also, the crystals themselves have certain qualities. And so you have the added energy from the crystals as well as the channeled energy. I do always like to stipulate that it's not me healing. I'm merely a channel for that healing. So it's not me. So it's really a combination of the channeled healing and the crystal energy.
First used on the legendary continent of Atlantis, crystals became indispensable to the people of that time, who capitalized on their capacity to store and amplify any power source fed into them. In a manner still mostly unknown to modern-day scientists, large crystals provided lighting, power, and transport. Today, scientists are slowly rediscovering the power of crystals and are beginning to regain some of that lost knowledge obscured over the millennia. Crystal therapy is the therapeutic use of semi-precious and precious crystals for healing. Each crystal is believed to have specific therapeutic properties, although the same crystal may have varied effects on different people. The most common crystals used in general healing are quartz and amethyst crystals. Both these crystals are believed to be very efficient in magnifying healing energies from either a mechanical source or from a human being. Crystal therapy is commonly used in conjunction with color therapy using a crystal light box. This is a box which produces different colors using gels. Different crystals are placed inside the box to focus light energy and project it onto the body. In some parts of the world, electrocrystal therapy is also practiced. This involves the transmission of different pulses of high-frequency electromagnetic energy through specific crystals.
They amplify energy, they transfer it, they focus it, they store it. They're very, very powerful tools.
Different crystals do have different properties, but we use them as a tool in healing. We actually don't say this crystal heals me. It's like quartz is used as a tool for amplifying sound in radio signals or computers, lasers, all that sort of thing. So they're amplifying the energy of the crystal. But in order to use them as a tool for healing, we can get in touch with the properties that some of the crystals have. So for instance, the rose quartz has a very loving and gentle sort of energy, and so that can help to calm and soothe someone. Amethyst has also a calming energy and can be used to just break up or clear conflict in a room. And then the clear quartz is a great energizer. It can amplify our energy and help us to gain vitality and zest.
The actual time humans first discovered and began using crystals still remains somewhat obscured. Archaeologists such as Geoffrey Goodman, who wrote the book Psychic Archaeology, speculate that humans may have started collecting crystals for healing purposes more than 100,000 years ago in North America. The first recorded use of crystals dates back many thousands of years ago, during the time of Atlantis, where crystals were believed to have generated light, provided transport, and used as an adjunct in healing. The Atlanteans would use the crystal's natural electromagnetic energy to effect changes in the mental, physical, and spiritual bodies of the people. Crystals and crystal power were the principal source of energy for these people. However, as with many tools of man, these powers and energies were subject to misuse, which caused the downfall of the Atlantean civilization. After the fall of Atlantis, many ancient cultures, such as the Tibetan and Egyptian civilizations, began rediscovering the power of crystals. Around 3000 BC, the Egyptian priesthood began recreating certain aspects of the Atlantean civilization and constructed the Great Pyramids, which contained a large crystal on its apex. The Great Pyramids were thought to have been created to harness in or tap into the universal energy which came from above. Soon after, the knowledge of crystal healing was passed down through the centuries among countless cultures. The Babylonian and Assyrians used crystals as amulets, while ancient Roman and Greek authors wrote books describing the characteristics of various crystals and stones. In modern times, with the growth of electronics in the 1950s and 60s, synthetic crystals sprouted new interests. These crystals could be grown to specific specifications for use in precision electronic equipment, such as watches or computers. In recent years, with the invention of the crystal wand by London practitioner Harry Oldfield, the ancient art of crystal healing has since been rediscovered. Oldfield's device consisted of a white sound frequency generator connected to a hollow glass tube filled with various crystals and saline solution. The white sound would then be translated into an electric current stimulating the crystals, which will be placed on various acupuncture or acupressure points on the body. Through his research, Oldfield found that numerous crystals contain specific properties affecting different physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of the body.
There are different styles. I guess for me, the way I use the crystals is of using them intuitively. So I'll sort of talk to the person about what they need to work on and what they're particularly working on, and I'll tune into the energy or the colour of the crystal and be guided as to where I'll use it on the body. But there are formats and layouts that have been designed and have worked over the years for different people.
Yeah, well, there would be a specific way that I teach it. I teach my students the way that I do it, but of course I don't say that mine's the only way. You know, everybody has different ways, and I can't say that I'm right and someone else is wrong. I just teach my method, and I certainly respect other people's methods of crystal healing as well, naturally.
And I guess it would vary within individual and individual. I mean,
yes, every healing, you mean? Yes, because every healing is completely different, because you have a different combination of energy. You have the combination of the channeled healing energy, the layout of crystals on that particular person, and there is, I guess, some input from your own energy and the energy of the person lying there. So already you have 4 types of energy, but also crystals, you know, are all completely different. There's no 2 crystals the same. You know how we have, we have fingerprints which establish that we're all very different from each other. Each crystal is completely different, has its own signature tune, so each collection of crystals on a body would create a different collective energy each time as well.
Each crystal is believed to possess a unique property when applied to the body. Crystals can also be used in chakra healing and balancing, where individual crystals balance energies at each chakra point. Crystal pendulums can also be used during a crystal healing to indicate where certain imbalances in each chakra center is occurring.
Well, fluorite, as you might have noticed in the healing, I use a lot of fluorite. Fluorite is used for accessing higher mental planes of consciousness, and fluorite is really good for anything to do with the higher chakras, the brow chakra and the crown chakra. I guess fluorite's my favourite crystal. Clear quartz is used for transferring energy, storing it, focusing it, amplifying. And clear quartz crystals are like little computers, and you can actually program a clear quartz crystal for healing or for purifying water or for whatever. Rose quartz is very much the love crystal, and so you use rose quartz on the heart chakra for opening up the heart chakra and for opening up and accessing love. And today I used rose quartz on Joe's heart chakra, but it was a beautiful piece shaped in the shape of a heart, which would then actually empower the quality of that rose quartz crystal, because the shape does lend a certain potency, just as a pyramid shape lends potency to a crystal as well, and a sphere. Well, with the heart, it's just an established type of. It means over the years and the centuries, the shape of the heart has gathered energy around it to the shape of love. Everybody knows the shape of the heart is love, and people have known that through centuries. It's the same with the pyramids, the power of the pyramids, and the sphere. They all have, through cultures, civilizations, beliefs, philosophies, practices, through tribal communities, whatever, that all lends certain vibrational power to that particular shape. I'd just say go for the crystal that you're attracted to. Definitely not an intellectual decision. It doesn't matter about the price or how large it is or anything else. Go for what you feel strongly, because the reason is there's been an exchange of energy between you and the crystal, and that exchange of energy is manifested in you in a desire to touch it or want to hold it. In fact, it's an important exchange of energy, which means that your aura or auric field is probably in need of the qualities which that crystal can give out at that time, which is why you feel attracted to it.
Well, I'd just say to go into the shop and just, really enjoy looking around the shop, the crystal shop or the market, wherever you are, and just to really go to the crystal that you feel drawn to. Don't have any idea at all about the type you want or anything. Just allow yourself to go in, and there'll be one that you'll just feel a really strong pull, and that'll be the crystal, because it's like the crystal and you have an energy blend, and that means you'll be able to work together satisfactorily. So just go with the one you really, and you can choose for other people in that way too. Instead, you don't, what you can do is just visualize that person and just say, I'm just choosing a crystal for this person for their highest good, and just allow yourself to be drawn to the one. And often it's like, oh, that's my favourite one, or I really love that one, or someone told me to get that one.
within the aura, I did place an amethyst cluster simply because amethyst clusters are really good for transmuting negative energy to positive energy, which they do. That's why it's good to put a smaller crystal onto an amethyst cluster, because it automatically transmutes negative to positive. So I always put an amethyst cluster into the aura of a person where I'm working. Some people put them underneath the massage table. I just tend to pop it into the aura. So we have that. Of course, I use this beautiful rose quartz heart on the heart chakra for reasons I've just mentioned. I used, on the solar plexus chakra, the gold and yellow fluorite, because the solar plexus chakra gives off a beautiful yellow energy. And the yellow stones and crystals really assimilate very, very well with that energy. So I use those and citrine. And I also used some beautiful golden tiger eye with it as well. So that was with the solar plexus chakra. And I used, between the chakra centers, as I mentioned, that's a natural double terminated crystal. So I used a series of double terminated crystals at the crown chakra and at the feet as well. And this helps the energy flow to flow very evenly all through the aura. So I like to use double terminated crystals, clear quartz crystals, for that reason. And I had a series of these Marcel Vogel crystals, double terminated ones as well. This isn't a Marcel Vogel one, but here's one of the Marcel Vogel ones I used. And that's a 12-sided crystal. And it's not a crystal that has grown in the ground. Marcel Vogel, who died a couple of years ago, he was the chief scientist at IBM, but his hobby was clear quartz crystals and smoky quartz crystals. He grew them in a laboratory, and this is one of his crystals grown in the laboratory. And it's an amazing crystal for healing. His crystals were incredible. He proved scientifically that if you have a clear quartz crystal in your aura, it automatically diffracts extreme low-frequency radioactive, rays. It was proved scientifically. So I used several of these between the chakra centers, the Marcel Vogel crystals, as well as those natural double terminateds. Up around the crown chakra, here's a couple of clear quartz crystals with rutile in them. And rutile is really good, really good for people with epilepsy, where there's interference with the electrical impulses in the brain. So they're very, very good to use. I use that up near the crown chakra for that reason. Of course, as I said, I used a lot of fluorite because fluorite is my very favourite crystal all around the crown chakra and brow chakra. There's another one. And a lovely clear one. Right, now, this is another example of citrine, which I used on the solar plexus chakra, by the way. I hope you can get that on the camera. It's beautiful golden colour. And inside there's this incredible little crystal cluster right inside. It's just gorgeous. On the throat chakra, I used the blue crystals, azurite, and lapis lazuli and turquoise, all the beautiful blues. I did have an amethyst too up around near the brow chakra in the aura. And on the brow chakra itself, I had this beautiful piece of sugar light or lepidolite. And I also had the amethyst pebble as well. And more fluorite. I had green fluorite on the heart chakra along with the green aventurine, which are both very good for opening up the heart chakra. So they were up there with the rose quartz. Navel chakra, I used red jasper and carnelian. for emotional, unblocking any emotional blocks. And I had hematite, which is excellent for any fluid imbalance, whether it's the blood or the water. So they're very, very good to use in the aura for that sort of thing. I used pyrite because I knew that Joanne had a problem with respiratory problem with her lungs, and that's very good for that sort of thing. I put black tourmaline in because black tourmaline is very, very good for protection. See, Joanne does a lot of work, psychic work, and so the black tourmaline in the aura just provides a very powerful, like an armour in the aura against negative energy. Smoky quartz for any scarring from operations or any problems down in the base chakra, especially reproductive problems. And this is the black obsidian, which I used at that area too, in the shape of a little black arrow. Well, in choosing a crystal during a session, I just go with the flow. I don't think about what I'm going to use. The crystals, I have a wide variety of crystals there, and I just go with what I automatically know is needed. I try and keep my intellect out of the way and my ego and my personality out of the way. I have had paralysis disappear through crystal healing, paralysis down the right side of somebody. That was in 2 sessions. I mean, that's pretty dramatic, I know, and that's one dramatic one. Another one that I'm working on now, gosh, I hope I'm not treading on anybody's toes by talking about this subject, but I'm treating somebody with leukemia at the moment, and we are getting the most amazing results in the white cell count going down drastically, like 70% after one session. And so this has been very, very interesting for me, but I don't like to speak up too much about it because, you know, it's one case. And you have to see many, many cases to be able to confidently say. But
could be a combination of things, I guess.
Yeah. But and another really good thing the crystals are good for, if somebody's had surgery, if you have surgery or over-abuse of drugs or alcohol or an accident falling over, it actually really damages the aura, really shatters the aura. Now, a crystal healing is perfect for that sort of thing. Perfect. It really is wonderful for stabilising the aura after any of those things.
I guess one of the most interesting ones for me was when I first came into crystals, I was very much a child actually, but later on I learned about the properties of crystals and what they meant, but I always felt more to actually be drawn to the crystal than to go for the one that the property says this is what it's for. So I had someone come to me one day and they had just had their wisdom teeth removed and they were in a lot of pain. And it was interesting because I ended up picking a stone which would never have occurred to me to actually use, and they just held that stone over just the outside of their cheek, and it absolutely absorbed all that pain. They felt pain relief fairly instantly. And from my own experiences also, after having minor operations, and I've noticed that I can actually draw pain out, or I can move, shift the energy where there's too much energy to other areas so that it's drawing out that pain or adding energy to areas that need it. I think another interesting way in which crystals I've found have been used are for dream recall. I've had a lot of people say, I can't remember my dreams, I never remember them, and I say, well, okay, just program a crystal to help you and try it and see what happens. And I've had a lot of people ring up in a few days and say, wow, I'm remembering my dreams, they're really vivid now, and recording them. So to program a crystal is to actually get the crystal to aid you with something that you would like to do. again, it will not take away your responsibility. You are still responsible for yourself and your healing, but you can actually program a crystal to assist you in some way. So what you do is I've got a crystal in my hand. For example, this is a blue lace agate to help me speak. To program this crystal, I just hold it at my heart and I just allow light to come in, that universal energy light, to breathe it in. And then I'd say, I program this crystal to assist me in being calm as I'm speaking. So you can program them for all sorts of things, and that energy will help you to gain the goal that you're aiming for. We are made up of energy also, and so in our energy we have an aura, a human energy field, and within that energy field there are 7 major chakras. There are other smaller chakras around the body. And so we're amplifying, we are energy, we're made up of energy. And the crystal is made up of energy also. So the coloured stones, the gemstones, can be used in interaction with the colours that are of each chakra. So when the light and colour blends together, balancing can occur.
Well, particular crystals work very, very well in synchronicity with the energy of the chakra centres, certain ones. That's why I place certain ones on certain chakra centres. But again, I don't like to be too dogmatic about anything, because I really believe that none of us are experts in this field. None of us can claim to be experts in this field, because we're really all, it's as if we're all in kindergarten still. We're still just relearning about crystals. We knew it all before, back in the times of Lemuria and Atlantis. We blew it, and now we're learning again, taking it step by step gradually. But I don't feel that any of us can claim to be experts yet. Not by a long shot. We're still learning. Again, it says a lot in the books about these long, dramatic, 2-week rituals of cider vinegar and all this sort of stuff with crystals. You don't have to do any of that. You can clear a crystal with the power of thought. And if you just really project a laser beam of thought energy into the crystal for clearing it, it will clear. And I always sort of do this demonstration in the workshops and the courses which I take, where a crystal can be filled with negative energy, and you do kinesiology on the person to see how it weakens the aura and the strength of the person. Then you just flash some very positive energy into it to clear it, and you do the kinesiology on the person again, and it is totally rectified immediately. The power of thought is extremely effective in clearing crystals. But of course you can place them on amethyst clusters or into a properly aligned pyramid, or if you wish to have the joy of taking them through the elements into the earth and water and moonlight, not too much sunlight, moonlight is better than sunlight. You know, that's wonderful to do. But there aren't these incredible strict rules about things. You know, the 2-week thing, I think a lot of that's just created to sell books. I haven't found that there is any need for that at all.
We all have, or most of us have, a concept that there is something outside of ourselves. There is a higher force. Some people call it God, others the universe. And I feel that it's just a wonderful higher force and energy that's really refined and flowing at a frequency. And we're all made up of energy, so we are a part of that universal energy. But as we reflect and draw into ourselves and also allow ourselves to open up, we can connect with a higher energy and allow that to flow through us and bring more balance into our lives. Often people feel, you know, you hear people saying, I don't feel myself, you know, I feel out of whack, I feel exhausted, I feel overworked, I need my space. And that's because their energy is out of balance. And so when we bring in particular stones and when we use the healing energy and the crystals together, we can work at realigning that balance I mean, we can do it naturally by spending time in nature. And when you go on holidays, you come home and you go, oh, I feel more myself again. I had some space, I feel okay. So it's like aligning that energy so you feel right, you feel in tune with yourself. Crystals do go on their way. We don't own them, and I think that's a really important point about them. Often you hear people saying, oh, don't touch my crystal, but I think crystals are to be shared, and especially with children, because they've got all that wonderful, innocent, joyous energy. So I think that's to be encouraged, to share crystals. Of course, if you're in a situation where someone's going through a lot of negativity or anger, you would cleanse the crystal after that. But I once lost a crystal. What happened was I was using this crystal for a particular purpose, and then it just disappeared. And I actually was disappointed because I really liked it, and I just let it go, and I thought, okay, well, that crystal's just going on its way, and let it go. And I actually moved house, and it was about 6 months after I lost the crystal, I'd moved house, and I was sitting outside in my new place, and I was just sitting at the table, and I looked down, and there was that very crystal. And I've still got it today, but I'll let it go if I have to. So I believe that they come and spend time with you and work together, and when it's time to move on, they move on. And so if you do lose a crystal, it's best to just go with that.
Look, I'm going to say no, even though others might say yes, because, look, crystals are very pure energy vibrations. They're very pure. It doesn't matter about mixing them up together. Crystals, if you get a whole lot of crystals put together, for instance, they all immediately adjust to each other and create a wonderful, harmonious, balanced atmosphere. And I always say we humans could learn a lot from crystals. If you put a whole lot of humans into a small room for a period of time, there'd soon be, division and segregation and all that sort of thing. Crystals adjust to each other. They're very, very pure. I can't see any danger or anything negative about crystals. The only thing that I would obviously warn against is that they do absorb energy, and they don't discriminate, so they can absorb negative energy, which means, and when I say negative energy, illness or depression or anger. So you do have to be very aware of clearing crystals at all times, simply because of this. But that's not the poor old crystal's fault if it absorbs negative energy from somebody who's been handling it.
Well, I'd only ever use crystals if someone wanted me to. I don't feel that I have the power to say, well, you need this and this is what you're going to have, and so there. So again, I think that's really important. Also, I think that sometimes people, if they haven't been around crystals a great deal, and sometimes the energy is very strong, they go into a room and they start to feel a bit headachy. They need to just sort of take it easy and just never use a crystal if you feel uncomfortable with it, never hold it. I've seen people who have actually held a crystal and felt a lot of negativity, and so it's important that they just let it go and not feel they have to keep forcing something to happen.
I've been doing it for so many years now, about 15 years or something. I think I subconsciously, automatically do a lot of stuff as I begin, because I don't consciously do a lot now. But anybody beginning, I teach people certain techniques for strengthening their aura, and even sealing it off if need be before they start, because you can pick up on, depending on the problem, you can pick up on other people's pain. You have to be very careful. And in the beginning, when people start, they very often can be drained for a number of reasons. A, they can be using their own energy, which they shouldn't be doing, or they can be picking up all the problems of the other person. So there are certain specific auric exercises you can do to strengthen the aura and put a protection into it, and really look after yourself in that way without losing your compassion or your ability to channel.
Well, I think more and more that there are changes occurring in medical field in their attitudes towards alternative therapy. I mean, just looking at the way quartz is used technologically in laser treatment and all that kind of thing, I think a lot of doctors are actually opening up to the fact that if we're amplifying sound waves, we can amplify our mind, we can amplify thoughts, we can amplify our natural healing abilities. So I think more and more it's becoming more acceptable.
Well, funnily enough, I've come into contact with psychiatrists, doctors and police officers and on the subject of crystals and their powers and healing. And I've actually had some really intelligent, warm conversations with these particular ones who I have spoken to. So I haven't encountered derision personally, but I'm quite sure that most doctors out there would be rather derisive of it. Because the doctors that I've spoken to have been really doctors who also practice acupuncture and other things as well, so they're very open to it, you know, even though they don't practice it themselves.
Well, I think in the future it'll be a blend of a lot of different therapies. There'll be some really wonderful, unique blends occurring from the use of crystals, herbs, healing, and orthodox medicine. I think there's room for all of us.
As long as we keep going the right way, I think that, especially fluoride, this is just my opinion, I don't know whether there's anybody else out there that shares this opinion about fluoride, but I think that it is huge, especially for fluoride and clear quartz. And I think really what we're doing is we're relearning and remembering what we knew before.
For hundreds of thousands of years, different cultures have utilized the power within crystals for healing. This ancient art is once again being brought forward into the world. Hopefully, with the lessons learnt from the demise of ancient cultures such as Atlantis, humankind will be able to use the power of crystals to benefit all aspects of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual life.